What happens when a play isn't just paper and ink? What if a script could hold on to a 300-year-old murder and decide it's not done yet? We're about to dive into a story where history, art, and a very real curse blur the line between what happens on stage and what happens in the supernatural world.
So let's just get right to the heart of it. This is the big question. It's not just about putting on a show for these people. It's about pure survival. Can a ghost story from the distant past actually stop a beloved community theater from becoming a ghost itself? The stakes could not be higher.
Okay, so our story kicks off at the Riverside Community Theater. It's a place filled with all the passion in the world, but it is dangerously, perilously short on cash. Desperation is just thick in the air, and that desperation is about to lead them to something that's been buried for a very, very long time.
$37,000. I mean, that's not just a number on a spreadsheet. For this theater, it is a death sentence. They are that far in debt, and they have exactly 23 days to pay it all back before the building is sold and, you guessed it, turned into luxury condos. The clock is ticking, loud.
And this quote from Alina Vasquez, the artistic director, it just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the pressure cooker she's in. There's no time for careful, methodical solutions. She needs a hit. She needs a miracle. And that forces her to take a huge, huge gamble when an opportunity just falls into her lap. Now, at the center of this whole story are two rivalries, like a mirror image separated by 3 centuries. In our time, you've got Jamie and Ryan, 2 talented actors who are eaten up by professional jealousy. Their dynamic is an uncanny echo of Charles Macklin and Thomas Hallam, famous actors back in the 1700s whose rivalry ended in actual tragedy. This parallel, well, it's absolutely crucial. So just when it looks like all is lost, they find this. An incredible, ornate, antique trunk just sitting in the basement. And inside, it's not just costumes, it's authentic 18th century clothing. And tucked beneath it all, a manuscript for a play, Trick for Trick, that historians thought was lost forever. It really seems like their miracle has finally arrived. But you know how these things go. This miracle comes with a dark and, frankly, a bloody history. And that little glimmer of hope is about to turn into a very chilling premonition. So get this. The play they just found, Trick for Trick, is the exact same one that was being performed in 1735 when Charles Macklin killed Thomas Hallam over a prop wig. Now, 300 years later, the company is planning to stage this very same cursed play, using the original artifacts as their last-ditch effort to survive. What could possibly go wrong?
And here is where the mystery really deepens. The theater's historian, Sarah, she notices something odd. The very last page of the manuscript has been ripped out. The violent ending just feels tacked on, like it replaced a totally different conclusion. It raises a chilling question. What if the tragedy was never supposed to happen in the first place? Despite the warning signs, the decision is made to stage the play. And this is when the lines between past and present, between actor and character, begin to blur in a really dangerous way. It starts small, almost unnoticeable. The moment Jamie, one of our modern rival actors, touches that antique wig, he speaks. And for just a second, there's a faint Irish accent in his voice that he doesn't even recognize. It's subtle, sure, but it's the first whisper of the ghost of Charles Macklin, the Irish actor who committed the murder.
So what's going on here? Well, Sarah's research gives this phenomenon a name: psychic imprinting. It's this theory that traumatic events can leave behind a kind of emotional energy on physical objects. And that energy, the rage, the fear, the guilt from that murder, it's been absorbed by these items, especially the wig. And now, it's starting to leak out.
As rehearsals continue, Jamie's transformation gets faster and more obvious. He's not just playing the part of Macklin anymore. He's adopting his accent full-time, his mannerisms, and, most worrying of all, his explosive temper. He's not just acting anymore, he's becoming him. So you have to ask, why them? Why these 2 actors? Well, it's because Jamie's resentment and Ryan's jealousy created the perfect petri dish. That 300-year-old hatred found a familiar home in their modern-day conflict. It started feeding on their ambition until neither of them could tell where their performance ended and the possession began.
All right, everything has been building to this moment. It all leads to this terrifying climax, just 3 days before opening night, where the veil between our world and the next is about to tear wide open. Picture this. It's midnight. The theater is dark, silent,
and something pulls both Jamie and Ryan out of their beds and back to the empty stage. They show up separately, already in full costume, moving like puppets on a string. They're not there to rehearse. They're there because the spirits of Macklin and Hallam have one last scene to finish.
And then the impossible happens. The trunk lid flies open, and the wig, the very object that started the murder, levitates. It just floats out and hangs in the air between the two possessed actors. Any idea that this was just in their heads is gone. The supernatural is now literally on stage.
And right behind the actors, two shimmering, ghostly figures appear. Not echoes, not feelings, the actual specters of Macklin and Hallam. Macklin is tormented, twisted by centuries of guilt. Hallam is just a knot of bitterness, consumed by a thirst for revenge. They've come back to watch their tragedy play out one final bloody time.
But then, just as the violence is about to repeat itself, something that nobody could have predicted happens. Hallam's ghost, the victim, looks at his killer and chooses a different path. He offers forgiveness, and with that one single impossible act of grace, the 300-year-old curse shatters.
With the curse finally broken, the company suddenly has a chance to do way more than just save their theater. They have a chance to heal history itself.
Inspired by this, Sarah, the historian, writes a brand new final scene for the play. And you can see the difference right here. The petty argument over a wig becomes a deep discussion about symbolism. Violent murder is replaced with a new partnership. A story of tragic rivalry becomes a story of mutual respect.
The results are just transformational. Opening night is a massive success, and the ticket sales completely save the theater. The new ending seems to bring peace to the spirits, who finally fade away. And maybe most importantly, Jamie and Ryan, now free from that ghostly influence, finally overcome their own rivalry and become partners.
This is the message they end up putting on a plaque in their lobby, right next to the infamous wig, which is now safely behind glass. It's a testament to their incredible journey, and really, the powerful theme of the whole story.
And really, that's the final takeaway, isn't it? The story suggests that maybe we aren't bound by the tragic scripts we inherit, that we all have the power to write new endings for ourselves, and maybe even for the ghosts of our own past. So it leaves us with a question to think about. What stories in our own lives are worth rewriting?